Kevin rushed out of Norman Steele's birthday party as soon as he got the call from Drake telling him that Cook and his other friends had been abducted by the Williams family. He asked Dalton to get some of his bodyguards and go along with him to New York. The scene at the Williams mansion was starting to get violent. Some of the younger Williams men were threatening their captives. One of them was ordered by Thomas to punch Alan in the face to get him to betray his son. You're talking nonsense. I believe in Kevin," Alan moaned as he endured the pain. "He would never do anything to hurt the family." "Still not willing to admit it? Hit him again. Harder," Thomas shouted. After a couple of minutes of this, Alan's nose and mouth were bleeding, and his eye had started to swell up. And Susan wasn't spared from this either. Thomas ordered one of his nieces to slap her on the cheek to see if that would help change Alan's mind. Even though things had gotten bloody, Grandpa Williams just sat calmly in his chair, showing no sign of stopping the beating. Susan and Alan weren't strong enough to take any more of this. On top of that, Alan was still recovering from his heart attack, so he was close to his limit. Whenever one of them passed out, someone threw a bucket of ice water on them to wake them up. Just then, the mansion's front door suddenly burst open. The solid wooden door was splintered by the powerful kick. Kevin's eyes turned blood red when he saw what they were doing to his parents and friends. He shouted fiercely, "What the hell are you doing?" "Kevin, how dare you come back here, you piece of shit!" Ethan yelled as he punched Kevin's father in the stomach. Alan was on the verge of collapse. "Stop it now!" Kevin shouted as he rushed toward his cousin. Kevin's hand was a blur as he reached out to grab Ethan by the throat. "Why don't you try hitting me instead?" Kevin said as he slapped Ethan's face viciously. When Ethan let out a muffled moan, Kevin punched him in the abdomen, doubling him over and knocking him to the ground. "Answer me! Which hand did you use to hit my father?" Kevin asked angrily. You piece of crap! How dare you hit me?" Ethan groaned in pain. Kevin ignored Ethan's complaint and grabbed his right hand. Everyone could clearly hear the crisp sound of bones breaking in Ethan's excruciating wail. "Kevin, you've broken my hand!" The intense pain made Ethan short of breath as he tried to keep himself from crying. With a ferocious look on his face, Kevin kicked Ethan in the ribs, breaking 3 of them and sending him flying 10 feet away. As Ethan landed, he took down a few of the other Williams men along the way. "Mom, Dad, are you okay?" Kevin asked as he untied their hands and hugged them tightly. Susan fainted immediately, and Alan looked at his son and whispered, "Kevin, tell me, did you do anything to hurt the family?" "No, Dad. I've never done anything to provoke the family. Whatever I did, they're the ones who forced me to do it," Kevin answered anxiously as tears fell from his eyes. "Good, son. That's enough for me," Alan said faintly before he passed out. Kevin couldn't tell if his father was alive or dead. "Dad! Mom!" Kevin shouted loudly as he shook his parents, but neither of them woke up. "What are you shouting about? Your parents failed to teach you how to show loyalty to the family," his Aunt Laura said bitterly. "They deserve to be punished for that, even if it means their death." Laura gave him a cruel glare. After handing Ethan over to one of her other relatives, she slowly walked up to Kevin and looked him straight in the eye. "What did you just say?" Kevin snarled back. "I said your parents deserve to die. And as for you, you bastard, how dare you show disrespect to your grandfather? Do you really think you can get away with this without being punished?" Laura chided him. Kevin gently lowered his parents to the floor. After wiping the tears off of his face, he stood up and walked towards Laura. What do you want?" Laura snarled at him. "Let me tell you something. This is the Williams family. If you aren't with us, you're against us, and you're nothing to us." "Nothing, huh?" Kevin suddenly moved toward her and took her by the arm. He dragged her over to his uncle and growled, I'm sure the Williams family would be a lot better off without you." Laura was so upset and frightened that she fainted. Thomas caught his wife and sat her down in a chair.
"Kevin, how dare you hurt my wife?"
Thomas shrieked savagely as he rushed towards Kevin.
"Shut up!"
Kevin shouted as he slapped his uncle right in the face. It was more of a punch than a slap, and it spun Thomas around as he fell to the ground. His head was buzzing. Then Kevin grabbed his uncle by the throat and said coldly, "Today, right in front of Grandpa and all these witnesses, let me ask you something. 3 years ago, when I bought the shares of Orion Group, all the money I spent was earned through my own hard work. Did I take even a penny from the family? Then you took Laura's advice and kicked me and my parents out of the family without any investigation at all. Did you tell Grandpa about any of that?" Kevin continued, "Under Ethan and Laura's crappy management, Williams Media was left an empty shell. If you hadn't given it to me in exchange for my financial help, I'm sure it would have gone bankrupt. Then you took the Williams family's money and joined forces with outside families to attack Williams Media and drive down its stock so that I wouldn't be able to recover from the losses." Everyone remained silent as Kevin continued to lay out the facts in front of Randall Williams and the rest of the family. "Did you notice that, even though I said I was going to take back the billions that I lent the family, did I actually come back and demand it?" "No," Kevin asked coldly. "But what about you guys? What did you do to me every time you saw me? Other than insulting me, what else have you done?" Kevin slapped Thomas hard in the face and added, "I'm so much stronger than your worthless son. And another thing, my father, your actual brother. How could you have beaten him to death?" Kevin threw Thomas into the crowd as soon as he was finished speaking.
"How dare you!"
Grandpa Williams snapped as he banged his walking stick on the floor. He was furious. "How dare I? Grandpa, let me ask you a question. You said that I offended the family, but when did I do anything like that on purpose?" Kevin replied without the slightest bit of fear. When he heard this, Grandpa Williams got choked up and couldn't say anything in response. With the help of 2 of his family members, Thomas stood up shakily and said,
"Kevin, no matter what you say, you won't be able to walk out of here on your own. Listen up, everyone. Take this son of a bitch and punish him the way we always deal with traitors to the family."
A group of men started walking towards Kevin with hideous expressions on their faces. "What now? Do you need help to bully me because you can't do it yourself?" Kevin roared before he shouted to the men who were waiting for him outside. "Dalton, what are you waiting for? Do you want to let me have all the fun?" As soon as he said this, Dalton rushed headlong through the demolished front door. He was leading more than a dozen imposing-looking men.
"Who the hell are you? How dare you enter our home?"
Thomas shouted at the top of his lungs.
"So, you're the Williams family," Dalton shouted mockingly. "Kevin is like a brother to me. I can't let you treat him like this. And to answer your question, my name is Dalton Steele." "You're from the Steele family?"
Thomas asked in shock. "Dalton, let's not waste any more time," Kevin said to his friend. "Get my parents and the others to the hospital." They were all in bad shape and Kevin was anxious to get them medical help. Grandpa Williams stepped out in front of everyone holding his walking stick. He looked very strong for his advanced age as he warned them.
"First, you need to go through me."
Dalton Steele's expression instantly became serious when he saw this. Looking very confident, Grandpa Williams said,
"Young man, out of respect for your grandfather, Norman Steele, I'll forgive your youthful exuberance. Just go back to Chicago while you still can. Remember, we aren't afraid of your family and we won't allow you to come here making demands."
Dalton recovered from his initial surprise and repeated,
"Sir, I'll say it again. Kevin is my brother."
Then he turned his head and said to the men who were standing next to him,
"Quick, go and help the others." "Have it your way, you arrogant fool."
Grandpa Williams said as he raised his walking stick and swung it at Dalton's head. But it was caught before it reached its target. "Grandpa, I hate to contradict you, but I can't let you make a mistake like this," Kevin said very confidently. He remembered fondly how much love his grandfather had shown him when he was a child, so Kevin didn't want to fight with him unless it was absolutely necessary. But it was starting to look like he might have to do battle with Grandpa Williams anyway.
Hi, Kevin here. If you're wondering what happens next, then stay tuned on the Pocket FM Universe channel for more episodes.